What's going on, traders? Andrew O'Connell here with Pristine Capital, coming at you with yet another market recap video. It is March 28th, 2022. Please go ahead, click the like button on this video. Also subscribe to my channel, that way you don't miss any of my future videos. Today we're going to talk through the price action in the indices. We're going to talk through some of my trading for today, and we're going to talk about the fact that the market just went completely overdrive into the close today. Before we do that, quick risk disclaimer: nothing in this video should be construed as investment advice or recommendations. Please follow your own trading plan and your own risk parameters. Last but certainly not least, do not YOLO your entire account into any one of my trades, your trades, anyone's trades for that matter. All right, let's take a look here. Headline indices had a pretty mixed showing here. So we have the S&P 500 up 0.71%. We have the NASDAQ QQQ, which was our big winner, up 1.55%. Then the small caps just really did not show up today, up 0.03%. Dow Jones up 0.27%. And then the ARK Innovation ETF, this is actually the top performer, up 3.95%. Pretty much all of these indices closed at the very tip top of their daily range today. And we had another day of vol crush. Looking at the breadth over here, we can see that the small cap breadth was actually negative. And the reason why I always call out the small caps in particular is because if you look at the number of stocks in the small caps, it's far greater than any of these other indices. So we had weak breadth in the small caps, but we did have very strong breadth in the NASDAQ QQQ as well as the ARK Innovation ETF. Taking a look at our Finviz Heat Map, oh my gosh, pretty much like we have a return to the speculative market that we had really all throughout 2020 and through part of 2021. Tesla was our big winner, up 8.04% on the session. We're going to have to pull up the Tesla chart here, and you can see Microsoft is up 2.31%, Amazon was up 2.56%, and then the energy sector was pretty weak today. Let's pull up some of these charts. One of the big themes for today is that it appears, and let's pull up Tesla real quick. It appears that the market has pretty much priced in a positive resolution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And with that positive resolution to that conflict, that means, hey, energy prices could be going down. We might have actually seen the peak of these inflation fears. So we're getting this really strange reaction in the market where it's like, okay, Russia and Ukraine is getting better, geopolitical risk coming off, which translates to lower inflation risk. Okay, maybe the Fed doesn't have to be as tight on monetary policy. We've already priced in a lot of tightening. And it's pretty much like we're coming from a position where a lot of market participants were under positioned. So we're just getting like this insane rally. Look at what Tesla has done. This is, I believe, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10th day of this rally. And take a look, we're well beyond this Venom R1 pivot. And when we pull up our weekly chart, we're getting pretty close to these ding dong all-time highs. So we're definitely getting there. And very quickly, this market went from like, oh my gosh, we can't even catch a break, to this thing is just like a runaway freight train. Take a look as well. We have Apple. This one, there was even a bad headline today. It was like, Apple's going to be cutting their production of their iPhone SE, which is their lower cost model, by about 20% due to a lack of demand, but Apple is up 0.5% today. So it really just shows like there is something going on in the market. We've been talking about these month-end dynamics and also the quarter-end dynamics, where there's rebalancing that has to occur in the market. But to be honest, it really seems like the chase is on in equities. We went from extremely fearful, complete buyer's strike, to all of a sudden, once that Fed meeting passed, the buyers are back in full force. So you can see Apple approaching this monthly value area high. And let's take a look at Amazon as well. Amazon also had a good showing, up 2.56%. My trend model was at a +1 for most of the session. And then when the market really just kicked into high gear towards the end of the day, it flipped back to +3. Take a look here, S&P 500, it's 549, so we're likely not going to see the opening of the futures, but take a look at where we closed. So we've been talking about this level for the past week or so, hey, it would be really crazy if the market got all the way up to 45.63. That is likely a good destination point for this rally. And here we are, we finally hit it. And we're actually trading above this monthly value area high. So breakouts from value, those are bullish signals. So it's kind of nuts to think the market has really just gone up in essentially like a straight line. Like this is like a 45-degree angle to the upside here in just a few short days. But it's like, and now we just triggered another buy signal. So this is very odd. We are pretty extended from some of these key moving averages. So what I'm making sure to do is I don't want to get sucked in on like the 11th up day in a row when the market's a little bit overbought. Let's take a look at the hourly chart. And you can see we did have an intraday pullback. So look at this. We pulled back, almost tested that weekly value area high. And on SPY, we actually did retest the weekly value area high. So, okay, we got a little bit of a pullback. And then buyers just immediately stepped in and pushed us higher in a pretty much a vertical move. You can see on this hourly chart, we're above this 5-period EMA. See a huge move in the S&P 500. Let's take a look at the underlying composition of the rally. So we had energy stocks, which are in our top momentum slot, but they were a big loser today, down 2.48%. Gold miners, also a big loser, down 2.63%. And this is what I mean when I say the war trade is pretty much done. Whole Russia and Ukraine conflict, we might be seeing more headlines about it, but in terms of the markets, I think the market's just completely pricing in a positive outcome because gold and energy spiked as a result of that conflict. Top gainers, we had the ARK Innovation ETF up 3.95%. So those growth stocks, more speculative areas of the market doing very well. Blockchain assets were another top performer, and the blockchain ETF slipped into our number 2 momentum slot. So let's look at some of these groups. And this is what I mean when I say like the war trade is pretty much done and likely the inflation trade. Take a look at what crude oil did today. So I shorted crude when it was up here, covered my short into these lows, and then you can see we just made a lower high, and now we just failed below this 20-day simple moving average with a big extended range red candle. So it looks like the highs for energy are in, and that would only happen if the market's saying, hey, there's going to be no further escalation in terms of the energy market, in terms of Russia, Ukraine, etc. Let's take a look at these gold futures as well. These spiked as a result of that Russian invasion, and now gold is trading back inside of this monthly value rate, and it actually looks pretty weak here. So yeah, it looks like a lot of that geopolitical risk has been priced out of the market. Let's take a quick sneak peek at our VIX here. And the VIX is now below a 20. So look at this. We're below where the VIX was on February 9th. And we are approaching the lows for January. So the lows for January, you can see right here on December 31st, we were at about like a 16 and change on the VIX. And then immediately once we flipped into January, that's when the market started getting really crazy. Now we're starting to approach those more normal levels, and look at this death march for the VIX. So again, this is, I would say, a tough spot. Like for me, I closed out pretty much all of my long exposure on Friday, and on a day like today, this is not where I want to go ahead and add that exposure. So rather than trying to, okay, now let me go ahead and chase the market higher, the route I would much rather take is sit out and maybe the market rallies another day or two. It's kind of funny. Usually the way it works is once the market looks like it's a complete locomotive, there's no way to stop it in either direction. A lot of times that's when people make the poor decision, like they FOMO into everything. And a lot of times that's really when you want to be staying put. So I'm going to make sure that I'm staying put. But I must say, if you're looking at this market trend, that's certainly a positive thing that we're jumping out of this monthly value area. Let's take a look at these style factors. Style factors, we had high div, low vol trading down. Some of these international style factors, these were both down as well. And then look at what we have here. Value was an underperformer and cyclicals. And then the outperformers were momentum and growth. Remember, Momentum and growth have been severe underperformers for the entirety of 2022 year to date. So it looks like we're just getting this flip-flopping where, the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And that is definitely impacting a lot of these different areas of the market. Of course, we have our quarter end rebalancing. We've been talking about this in every video. Only a few days left of that rebalancing process. And the seasonality, take a look at where we are. So the market's ripping to the upside. And the seasonality remains strong throughout April. So again, market's overbought. But I must say, this is looking just like a lockout rally where if you hesitated at all or closed out your exposure, it becomes very difficult to re-enter at a nice high risk reward spot. Oh yeah, one other thing I want to point out. So this is another indication for me, hey, don't rush it. Don't go crazy here. Look at what the meme stocks are doing. AMC up 44.91%. Come on, get real. Take a look at that. So again, when the market's doing this, it's very easy to be like, oh my God, like I need to trade everything. But you want to make sure that you're just kind of keeping it cool a little bit because the market is definitely getting insanely hot to the upside. So AMC put in a 45% day. Went into sicko mode. GameStop, you can see, it was up almost 25%. Pretty much vertical. This stock, oh my gosh. So look at this, everyone. So GameStop went from, so it hit a low of about 77 bucks, 76 bucks on March 14th. So 2 weeks later, we go from 74 to 189. The stock literally more than doubled. A 100% return for a meme stock. So now I know like a lot of the basically like punters on Twitter and like the day traders and whatever, now is where they're going to really focus on these meme stocks. But this is typically the point where you're really playing with fire if you're trying to enter these things. But who knows? We have a virgin point of control ahead of us at 208 spot 27. So maybe that gets taken out before this meme run ends. But in my experience, whenever these memes start running, there's always great opportunities in the market. And it almost seems like, oh my gosh, like buy this, buy that. Like I'm missing it. Like I can't catch everything. But all of a sudden the music will just stop and the market just gets hit with like a, sizable corrective move. And we always like to think like, I'll exit right at the top. But a lot of times you sort of get sucked in at the wrong time. Then you might be a little slow on the trigger to stop out, and then suddenly you're just like, bleh. You're in a really tough spot. So yeah, I'm just choosing to kind of keep it cool and, sit out this hand as things get a little bit crazier, I must say. All right, last thing, let's take a look at our VigTech options races because there was an unprecedented level of Tesla options traded today. So take a look at this. This is today's action. Tesla had almost $5 billion worth of calls traded. Typically this is around like 2 or 3 billion. And granted, Tesla is always a very high option volume stock. It's typically in our top slot here. But I must say $5 billion worth of calls, that is a lot even for Tesla. As always, let's take a look. We'll check out our dark index, see how this came out. Watch, this thing's probably at like a 50. Let's see, so we have this. Let me just pull it up. Oh my gosh, I can't type. Okay, here it is. What do you think it is? 46, 47, 50? It is 49.1, so another elevated day of dark pool buying. So as much as the market is overbought, we're getting confirmation with these dark pool players. Let's take a look at the dealer gamma index. Yeah, dealer gamma is definitely rising. All right, so yeah, we went through price action, options flow, dealer gamma. I must say, heading into the end of the week, could we end off with a bang for the quarter end rebal on March 31st? It is looking that way. The market definitely seems like it is overheating quite a bit. But as always, we're going to have to see what the river brings tomorrow. With that being said, that about does it for this market recap video. Hope you all had a great trading session today, and I'll see you all tomorrow.